Hey, I get it. You want to serve everyone, right? You don't want to turn anyone away for business. You think, I'm starting my business. I'm going to help everyone, no matter what industry you're in, right? Whether you're a videographer or a branding expert, a career coach, maybe you're a tech expert or a virtual assistant. I get it, because you don't want to turn away that cold, hard cash, right? I was like that when I started my career coaching business. I thought, I'll serve everyone. I want to help everyone get better jobs and be happy like I am, right? But what I didn't know is that you really need to niche down to get the right clients. Is it niche or niche? That's something that we're going to find out in a moment. Well, you guys, in order to niche down or in order to scale up, you really do need to niche down. Today, we have a very special guest from across the pond. It's Amy Caiger. And Amy and I had a lovely chat via Zoom, and I'm going to tell you more about that, of how we connected on LinkedIn after we get started. But in this episode today, Amy's going to talk about three main things. A niche is not just about having a particular customer avatar. We've heard so much talk about creating these customer avatars that look like your clients, your ideal clients, sound like your ideal clients. Where do they hang out? Is that necessary? We're going to talk about the goal for your niche is not to be specific. Now, that's contrary to what most people tell us, is that you need to be specific. So I'm very curious to learn more about that. And then she's finally going to touch on being clear on what makes you different. I think that's very important for all of us. Amy's worked in marketing for over 15 years, working with large public-facing organizations where brands are very, very important, as they have a reputation to protect, just like we do. Small business owners and entrepreneurs, we have our reputation to protect. Hi, everyone. I'm Mary Fain Brandt, Chief Inspiration Officer at the LinkedIn Bakery. Now, before we get started on today's show with Amy, big shout out to StreamYard, who is the official sponsor of Bite-Sized Tips for Busy Entrepreneurs. That's the name of the show. We go live twice a month on Wednesdays, and StreamYard is the official sponsor. What do I love about StreamYard? Well, it's so easy to go live. You just hit a button. Seriously, you hit the go live, and at the end broadcast. We're streaming right now on 5 channels. Well, 3 channels, 5 profiles. And I'm going to drop my link in the comments after the show if you'd like to learn more about StreamYard. Now, they do have a free version, but I really like the paid version, you guys, because you can do all the cool branding. So you know what? Let's just get started. Let's bring Amy on. Hello.
Hi, Mary. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much. I know that it's like evening time. Are you in England, or where are you at exactly?
Yeah, I'm in London in England. And yeah, that's why the lighting's a bit funny, because it is dark here now. And my lighting in my house is not good enough for doing
That's
recording
okay.
now, so I apologize.
That's okay. Well, thank you so much for spending your evening with me and our guests here. Hey, I forgot to say, you guys, if you're watching the replay, you know the rule. #replay. Drop in the comments where you're watching from, what industry you're in, because, you know, I'm a super connector. It's kind of my God-given talent to connect people with other people, places, and products. So you never know who I might have in my network that needs your services or businesses, or let me know who I can connect you with to help you grow and scale your business. So Amy, before we dive in, I kind of wanted to do a little mini LinkedIn training. We were talking, before the show today about how we connected. And I'm just going to ask you this. Did it seem salesy the way I reached out to you?
No, not at all. No.
Okay, so I kind of want to explain.
Yeah,
I want to explain what my process was. So I saw this post on LinkedIn, and I think it was through Andrew and Pete. And if you know who Andrew and Pete are, you'll love them. I saw them keynote at Social Media Marketing World. So seeing her name in one of their posts, I was like, who's this person? Andrew and Pete are very reputable, right? I love them. I love the work they do. So that led me to Amy's profile, which I happen to love. She's rocking LinkedIn with that rock star profile there, the call to action, the bright colors. It caught my attention. So then I read what she does. And then I jumped over to her website and I was like, oh, I love her website. It's so great. And I read some of her posts over on LinkedIn and I was like, okay, I want to connect with this person. So what I'm trying to tell you guys is I didn't just email her and say, hey, I see that you know Andrew and Pete. I'd like to talk to you. I did my research. I did drop their names, right? In the in-mail message saying, hey, I know Andrew and Pete. I checked out your website. I really like it. I'd love to talk to you about being on my show. But my whole point here is that it wasn't like cold call. It was, I did my research, kind of stalked her a little bit on LinkedIn, loved her content, reached out, and then we jumped on a Zoom call to get to know each other to see if this would be a good fit. And I have to say, Amy's a great fit for our audience today, and I can't wait for her to dive into these topics. Now, Amy might be frozen for just a moment, so let's see if she's going to come back live, because this is not my cup of tea to talk about. So give us 1 second. You gotta love technology these days, right? So, are you there, Amy? Okay. So I'm going to take her out and I'm going to put her back in. She might be having some technical difficulties. And I hope that you all can understand that with today's everybody being online with Zoom and streaming, we sometimes run into the tech issues. So are you back?
I am. Is it okay? Does I sound? I switched up to my phone hotspot.
Okay, you're back, so that's fine. I was just telling our viewers that sometimes, in today's world with technology and everybody working from home and everybody streaming and being on Zoom, sometimes we just run into these tech problems. And you guys, if you're new to live streaming, people kind of expect it right now. So don't get all flustered. Just take a deep breath. Keep talking, keep the show going, and your guests will know what to do, especially if you've done a rehearsal before. So Amy, why don't you tell everybody just a little bit about your background and how you started your business, and then we'll dive right into topic number 1.
Yeah, so as you said, I've worked in marketing for over 15 years now, which seems like a really long time. And I started my business actually through another business. So when I stopped my corporate job working in marketing, I decided to be an art consultant and sold artwork. And through that, I started helping artists and art professionals with their marketing. But what I was finding was that it's all very well helping people with, their website or with emails or social media, whatever that thing was that they needed help with. But if they weren't clear on what their business was about, how they were different, who their, what I like to call A-list customers are, then you're not going to really get anywhere with those, with doing your emails and things like that. You're still going to find them hard. You're going to find it hard to think of content and all that sort of stuff. So that's when I started focusing on business and brand identity, and a niche is obviously a massive part of that. So that is what I specialize in now.
I love it. And I have to say, I love your accent too. So I just have to put that out there. I don't know what it is about an English or British accent. Like, they're just great. They sound fancy. So speaking of fancy, let's answer this question to the masses. Is it niche or niche?
Well, I would say niche, but
I think it sounds fancy.
Niche.
Well, I think niche sounds classy. And, some people say niche, some people say niche. I think I'm like, down in the trenches, niche. I don't know, but I like niche. I don't know if there's a right way, but hey, you guys, whoever's watching, I'd love to know how you pronounce it. Is it niche or is it niche? I've heard it both ways. So we have Sibel watching. Sibel, she is from Brazil. So hi, nice to see you on here. I'll mention some people as they tune in and stuff. So Amy, let's get down right to business here, because we like to keep these, it's bite-sized tips for busy entrepreneurs. So I don't want to waste anyone's time. That's not what we're about. What I want you to talk about, a niche is not just about pinpointing your customer avatar. Why is that important? And explain that to our audience, and explain what an avatar is in case some people don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. So the first thing, I guess, an avatar is where you get really specific on who your customer is. So you might think of demographic, so like where they live, what age they are, what they like to do, and things like that. So the reason I say that a niche isn't about, it is not only about having a pinpointed customer, is that there are other aspects. Now, the customer is normally, say not always the case, but normally where people tend to go first when they're thinking about getting clearer on their niche for their business and getting more focused. So they go to their customer and they think, okay, it's got to be about my customer. It's got to be about my customer. Actually, there's two other ways that you can have a strong niche and you can start to focus in those areas. And they are what you do. So that could be your service or your products or just how you go about it, or it can be you. So this is particularly good if you are new to business and maybe you're not too clear who maybe your customers are quite yet, or how you do things. Maybe you're doing a range of different services and you can focus on how you are different, because like in real life, when you connect with people, you are a really important part and people will connect with you in your business in that same way. And the good thing is that we're all different. So this is a really good place to start, but get all those three things together and you've got an even stronger niche. So the reason I say it's not about customer is that that's one aspect, but also the aspects that you should be thinking about your customer is not so much about demographics or how old they are or what they like to do at weekends and things like that. It's thinking about what that problem is that they're having. You know, how are they feeling right now, and how do you solve that for them? So, where do they want to go? What transformation do they want once their problem's gone? And how do you do that for them? So that's the key to be thinking about here. It's not so much demographics or getting really focused, or kind of trying to get really pinpointed, because I know this is where people get a bit, I think, confused as well. They start thinking, oh, I need to have a pinpointed customer. So they start making up their customer. They try and add these demographics.
I love it. They start making up their customer. This is what I want my customer to look like. This is where they hang out. So what I am taking from that is understanding the problem. You're going to have your customers will all have the same problem. They could look differently. They could be male or female, but they're all focused on solving the same problem. I think that is such a smarter way to look at that.
Absolutely. And that's the thing. And that's where you should be starting. I mean, it's something you should be thinking about all the time anyway, but that can be your starting point, because all your customers should all have that problem. And then you might notice as you go along, they might all end up being this certain type of person. So then you can refine your messaging to resonate more with that person. But it should still be about that problem. You shouldn't just be going for someone just because, oh, they're a woman in their 30s and they have 2 kids or whatever, because that's where you
I love it. Like, I've never heard that explained this way, but it makes so much sense. And I think and then as you grow your business, because even someone like you or myself who've been in business for a few years, right? Sorry, I got distracted. Even though we've been in business for a few years, we pivot, we grow. And so our clients might change, or what we're offering, what problem we're solving will change. I know for me that's actually going on right now in my business. Mm-hmm. Like I'm doing some shifting. And so when you said that, I know the problem that all my ideal clients have, and they're both male and female.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And there's not, so that was an aha moment for me. Thank you very much. But, I have a question about that, because they always say, and you can correct me, or maybe you have a different viewpoint, that, your messaging needs to be spot on for your ideal client. So how can you write to a male, a female, a 30-year-old, a 50-year-old? Does it matter? Like, right? Do you get where I'm going with this? Because I think that's something that people would be interested in understanding.
Yeah, I mean, as you've said, like your business grows, your business develops, and in doing that, you should always be thinking about tweaking. You know, when you speak to your clients or you hear something, or you should be listening out all the time to pick up phrases and words and things like that to make your messaging even stronger and even more or clearer. That's going to resonate even more. But in terms of, if you do have a lot of different people, it's focusing on that problem. So it then in a way doesn't matter if, like, whether they are a man or a woman, or if you work in business, they are a VA or a social media manager or whoever you might work with, because if they've all got that problem, that's what you should be talking about in your messaging. Kind of literally saying, do you have this problem? Do you have a problem with this? Do you have a problem with that? Do you have a problem with this? Do you want to be this, that, or that? So they'll read that and think, oh my God, yes, that is what I want. And as I said, you'll tweak as you go. So if you then start to find more out about your customer, about what that problem is, what particular element of it that might be more of a trigger for them, then you can start to include that in your messaging. It's definitely not once you've got your messaging sorted, you never look at it again and you never adapt it and you never
boy, do I know that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Going through all new messaging right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a really good point. So thank you. So your tip, or the next topic, I'm sorry, is the goal for your niche is not to be specific. Now, I'm really curious on this, and that probably, let's talk a little more about that.
Okay. So the reason I say this is because people get too hung up on being specific. Right. So
because we're told to.
Yeah.
We're told to. We've been programmed, like, get really specific. Don't color outside the lines. Stay in your lane. Right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so when you are sitting there thinking, okay, what is my niche, or how can I make my niche a bit stronger? You shouldn't be thinking, how can I get more specific? Because that is when people start making things up. They get that pressure. They start to kind of stress out a bit that they don't know what it is. So they start making it up. What you should be doing is looking at what's happening in your business and doing more of what is working and doing less of what is not as working. So when it comes to your clients, it's looking at, okay, who does my customer seem to be and what is their problem? Is there a particular type of person that's coming out more than the others? How can I get more focused on that particular person? Same with what you do. You might offer 4 different services, and 3 of them might not be the ones that are getting you more clients. There might be 1 or a couple. So you focus on those. So, and same with things about you. So you are getting more specific as you are going along, but it's not what makes you specific that is going to make your business grow and make it more successful. It's that you're getting more tailored to the messaging. It's that you're understanding your clients more. It's that you're understanding what you do a hell of a lot more. So it's all those aspects of it, rather than sitting there going, okay, how can I make my business more specific? So even though you get more tailored and you get more focused as you go along, it's that kind of mindset of thinking, okay, I've just got to be specific, because then people start getting specific just for specific
for the sake of getting specific, because they've been told to. And
Absolutely.
So reviewing like your copy and your offers and all that, do you recommend that people go back and look at that every 6 months? Like, is this still on point for my brand? Have I shifted? I think sometimes for entrepreneurs and small business owners, we just go into autopilot. Like, well, we're doing this, we're getting some traction, things are okay, right? But I don't know that they actually plan time to go back and be like, over the last 6 months, here's where I made the most money. These services, let me look at, like, this morning, I was up at the crack of dawn and I had this thought about my website. And I went to my website and I was like, oh, I need to add these speaking gigs that I've done. So I, messaged my web person. Shout out to Dara. You're amazing. Thank you. But we don't really schedule time for that.
No, it's so important to do, because, 6 months could be, so many things could change in 6 months. You kind of think
maybe
6 months
quarterly.
isn't very long. But yeah, I think it's to put time in to review everything, because, as I say, the more you speak to your customers, the more you speak to your audience, the more you're kind of just, you are getting more into your business and doing things and writing content. Things come to you and you always think, oh, actually, I could tweak that sentence a bit more, or actually my clients seem to be talking about, they use this particular word or this particular phrase rather than, the word that you're using. And, a word can make all the difference for someone to think, oh my God, this person is reading my mind, if they're on your website, for example. So it is really important to keep tweaking and refining and checking on everything that you're doing, just to make sure it is saying what you want it to, that it is really resonating with your ideal client. So it is important to keep doing that, and to physically put some time in your calendar if it's something that you kind of get into doing the client work and into doing the day-to-day that you forget.
Yeah, we have to work on our business also. So we have someone that said, I did Amy's course. It was fab-nicheless.
Oh, wow.
Now, I don't know who it was, because, with StreamYard, you have to, on Facebook, they're watching on Facebook, you have to grant StreamYard permission to show your name. So I asked that person, I'm like, I can't see your name. Can you type it in here so I can give a shout out? But yeah, so that's awesome. I'm dying to know who's watching.
Yeah.
Maybe it's Christine Gritman. She's a big fan. So we'll see in a minute. Fabulous. Oh, it's Rebecca Ward.
It's Rebecca. Hi, Rebecca.
Oh, hi, Rebecca. Thanks for typing that in. I love it. I love it when there's someone watching that actually has a connection to the speaker. Because the whole point of these bite-sized...
She doesn't live very far away from me.
Oh, nice. Well, hello, Rebecca. The whole point of these shows, is not so I can get dressed up and put my makeup on. No. The whole point of these shows is to bring amazing experts in their industry onto the show to educate, provide information, and a little entertaining. So if there's a particular topic that you guys would like to see on the show, or a guest speaker, I'd love for you to DM me or drop it in wherever you're watching. I'll go back and watch the replay and catch those. So we have one more topic that we're going to talk about, and I know I'm going to love this one. Be clear on what makes you different. I think that's hard for a lot of people. I know it's still hard for me. I just went through a branding exercise. Boy, that was brutal. So be clear on what makes you different. Amy, what makes you different? I want to ask you, what makes you different?
You're going to put me on the spot. So I would say what makes me different is I have a different spin on how I do things. So just saying that I focus on niching and getting you clear on your niche is a little bit different. If I just said I was a marketing consultant or a brand consultant, I start to sound like everybody else. So so that's one element of me, that what makes me different. In my personal brands and my colors, I use very vibrant colors. So
yes, you do, and I love them.
So
I love your colors.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I do too. I do like, they're nice colors to look at all the time, because I see them a lot.
Right. You gotta like them.
Yeah, so, exactly.
We just had Christine Gritman, who I just mentioned. She just joined. Christine, hello. Lovely to see you here. So being clear on what makes you different, I think that that's a challenge for most people. What makes you different. So I'm fun and informative, right? So I'm very strategic, but I'm also a lot of fun. And you don't always see strategy with fun, joyful, happy people. Strategists are like, boom, very clear, which I am very much so strategy driven, and very focused on implementing that strategy. I'm reading a comment that came in, but I like to have fun and smile, and I want it to be a happy journey when I'm working with my clients. So I think that that's something that makes me different. People tell me that I'm like a cheerleader. So like, I'm an encourager of the heart. That's kind of just a natural trait that I have. And I guess as a coach, we would hope that all coaches were encouraging. I don't know.
But people might not be.
People might not be. So I think it's Rebecca. Oh, love that you asked Amy the question about what makes her different. It is. I think she's passionate, knowledgeable, and easy to talk to, Rebecca Ward. Well, that's lovely, Rebecca. I think the same. And we haven't known each other more than like 3 weeks. We've got Christine over on Facebook saying, hello, lovelies. I'm a fan of this personal branding discussion and of each of these actual people. Well, thank you, Christine.
Christine is the personal brand
She
queen.
is. I love Christine's branding. Like, her emails come in and I read them from top to bottom. I tell her that all the time. It's probably time to have Christine back on the show. Yeah. Or maybe we should do a branding panel. I don't know. Amy, Christine, Mary Rose, get a few people and just have a banter on branding.
That sounds good. How long is the show?
Well, that one would have to be an hour long. Yeah. You know, if we get like 6 women on here, that's an hour-long show. And I would want to have questions queued up from the audience ahead of time. So maybe I'll talk to you lovely ladies offline and let's see about doing a collaboration, right?
That sounds fabulous, yeah.
I think branding is such a hot topic with everything going on in the world, right? All of us working remotely, you know, people are, you know, starting businesses, people are pivoting in their businesses. And when you pivot, you've got to really think about your branding and your niche, right? So I think that maybe there would be something to that. So if you're watching and you would like to see a panel of branding and niching experts, I want you to drop me a high five or a thumbs up in the comments and we'll talk about putting that together for you because I love bringing experts together. That's like my favorite thing to do. So, Amy, any final tips before we wrap up? Anything else?
I'll just say on that, getting clear on what makes you different. You know, that's what you should be focusing on when it comes to your niche. So why would someone choose you over somebody else? And that's the key, really. That's the thing that you should be thinking about. So it's not about that specificness. It's not about necessarily the customer. It's where can you put your little flag in the sand and have your little area of what makes you, because then you become that no-brainer. You know, there's no comparison then. You're in your own lane. Someone will choose you. They'll want to work with you, because of the things that make you different. So that's the thing to be thinking about. So I'd say,
I love it. I wrote that down because, you know, after the show, we make 3 pro tips that we send out afterwards. And so I like the flag in the sand and I can already see the social media image that goes with it. So Rebecca Ward said, couldn't agree more about your branding and how you stand out. That's why you niched into Instagram stories and reels. Oh my gosh, that's very niched.
Yeah.
Or niched, however you say it. I love it. And Christine said, thank you for actually reading them. I'll be on your show whenever. Yay to a panel. So Christine sounds like she's on board for a panel. I love collaborating with other experts, female experts, especially, just saying. So we'll grab some more and we'll talk about doing that, you know, a little bit down the road. So Amy, I just want to say thank you because I know it's getting late where you're at and for being open to being on my show because we didn't know each other. You know, it was through LinkedIn that I found you. So just a shout out to LinkedIn again, you guys. If you're not on LinkedIn, that's how you get speaking gigs. You find speakers, you find clients. I'm just saying, it's my favorite platform. They all serve a purpose, but that is my professional platform. So Amy, thank you so much. I'm going to play a quick outro video for our viewers. And I'm going to find where I put that because I hid it somewhere. So I'm going to take you out and I'll bring you back on to say goodbye in just a moment. That's my little fun outro video. Let's bring Amy back on. Amy, I forgot. You have a freebie for the group, right?
Yes, I do.
I'm going to put that in the comments afterwards, but tell us a little bit about the freebie.
Cool. Yeah. So it's the Are You Niche Enough checklist. So I like to think of it as a little bit of a Cosmo quiz type checklist where you say yes or no and find out if you are niche enough. And then it gives you some tips, obviously, of what you've ticked to what areas you can work on a little bit more. So yes, that's what
I love it. So we'll go ahead and I'll drop that in the comments on all the platforms as soon as we're done with the show. So you guys can grab Amy's. I really suggest that you grab her opt-in. I mean, it's free, you guys, and it could help you get clearer on your niche, right? Or help you start niching down if you're just starting out. So Amy, thank you again so much for being on the show. It's been fabulous. It's been fun. I feel more informed now. And I just can't wait to learn more about your business too. And one day what is it? Atomicon? Mm-hmm. What is Andrew and Pete's big conference when we have conferences again? Yeah. I'm hoping to get over there because I know Christine will go again. And maybe we'll be able to meet in real life. That's one of my top priorities is to meet people in real life, taking the online relationship offline and getting to know people on a deeper level. So Amy, I'm going to let you go. And audience, thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to go back and check the comments with the freebies. And if you're watching this live, if you saw that video, if you want a strategy session with me, I'm offering $100 off with LinkedIn Live as your promo code. Okay, you guys, have a great day. Ciao or night.